You're listening to Ideal Practice, episode number 132. And today, guys, for the first time here on Ideal Practice, we're going to be talking about your website. Did you know that this could become for you a 24-hour sales and marketing system? Do you have any idea how much more it could be doing for you than it is right now? Well, by the time we get done today, you will know, because this is a packed episode and you're going to want to bring a pen. So stay tuned. Hi, I'm Wendy Pitts-Reeves, and with over 2 decades of experience in the private practice world, I've built my 6-figure business while learning a lot of lessons the hard way. This is the first podcast that shows you how to apply the principles of energy, alignment, and strategy to build a practice that is profit-centered, but people-forward. This is the Ideal Practice Podcast. Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Ideal Practice Podcast. This is Wendy Pitts-Reeves, your host. And as always, I'm thrilled to be hanging out with you guys today. We have so much to talk about. I know that we're at a crazy time of year. I know you are busy. I know you got a lot going on. But because you are a business owner, because you are a CEO of your own show, I bet you, like me, are already thinking about what you want to do next year, what you want to accomplish in 2025, what some of the exciting things are you want to do in your business. And I want to help you with that. So I want to invite you to join me for On Purpose 2025. This is my annual planning workshop that I host in December of each year. We work together all afternoon in an online small group format where, with guidance and structure, you will be given an opportunity to review and reflect upon the year that you have just completed and set some very clear and strategic goals and intentions for next year. But we're not just doing that. By the time we get done, you will have an active plan for what you're going to do, how, and when. All right? And I'd love to have you join me. You can learn all the details by going to wendypittsreeves.com/on-purpose. Sign up there because we are meeting soon. Now, let me introduce you to today's guest. Whitney Bateson is one of us, guys. She started off her career as a nutritionist and a dietitian, but learned along the way that she had a knack for and a real love of technology and the ways that, done well, used properly, technology can help us have a greater impact on those that we serve. So she's a website coach, and she believes that when we establish ourselves as the experts, we all win because the public receives accurate information, we get paid our worth, and together we all advance the public health, the well-being of our clients, right? She is the creator of the Wellness Pro website system. Doesn't that sound cool? The Wellness Pro website system. It's a live 6-week group program that she'll tell you a little bit about during our conversation today. Through it, it's a hybrid approach where she helps wellness entrepreneurs create beautiful, functional, profitable websites. And she will help you do it in a way that you don't get overwhelmed by all the tech, all right? And help you create a website that will generate more traffic, attract more clients, and overall help you grow your practice. Since 2018, Whitney and her team have helped over 100 entrepreneurs establish themselves online, help more people, and confidently build a business that can be run from anywhere, which, as you'll learn when you meet her, is really kind of important. So with that, let's get in to the interview. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Ideal Practice Podcast. You have already heard a little bit about my guest today in the intro. Let me go ahead and just bring her on board and say hello to Whitney. Say hi, Whitney.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me, Wendy.
I am so excited. This is no small deal that we are even being able to talk. Let's just go ahead and dive in and tell people where you are.
Yeah. The power of the internet, right? I'm in Medellin, Colombia, and I am what you would call a digital nomad. I like saying just full-time traveler, but
Yeah.
however you want to slice it, I travel full-time. I've been doing it for about 6 years now, running my business remotely. And it's keeps life interesting, as I was letting you know. It's a lot of fun. It's great to be in different places. I stay in places probably try to be 3 to 6 months, my husband and I.
Mm.
But sometimes we can't help ourselves and we go like 1 month here, 1 month there, but that can get a little a little
Oh,
hairy and
yeah.
stressful. Yeah.
I've known a few people who do it that way, who travel and move about every 4 to 6 weeks. And I do think they get tired after a while. So
Yeah.
you're sort of doing like this sort of midterm kind
Yeah. Like
I
the
like
slow
that. That's
mad.
great. The slow mad.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a
Yeah.
blog post of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. The slow mad.
Yeah, I can't take credit for that term, but yeah, it's definitely a lot more manageable because there are just so much logistics. I mean, we'll be talking about running your business today and trying to have automations and systems set up and all of that. But obviously, there's constantly things you're thinking about in your business, you're serving your clients, you're marketing, and then if your life is also changing all the time, that
Yeah,
can be a lot. But I still would never trade it for the world, honestly.
yeah.
So I say that yes, there's more work that goes into moving your entire home and life every couple of months, but there's lots of trade-offs, and that could be a whole nother episode for
Couldn't
sure.
it? We could totally talk about that. That's absolutely. But that is a great setup for what we want to talk about today. So we're going to talk about websites. And guys, I actually hadn't even realized this until Whitney pointed out to me that I hadn't talked about this yet on the podcast. We talk about all kinds of things, but I had not done a single thing about websites, which is kind of crazy. And as soon as I met Whitney, I thought she is going to be such a great resource. Like she has so much good stuff to share. Her own website is awesome, and we will have that linked below. You'll see all that. You definitely need to check that out. But Whitney, let's set this up like because you focus in particular on helping those who are in healing arts, like me, the wellness professionals, therapists, all
Yep.
different types. Can you share just a little bit about who you help, how you help them? Want to do a little bit of that?
Yeah, absolutely. My first career was a dietitian. So I come from this space myself, and there's a soft spot in my heart in these wellness healing professions. And as my first career, I was working in it, but I just was feeling called to do things more marketing, technology, design, all that kind of stuff. And also seeing that there's a real need for practitioners to get that support, as you know, as well.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
it's not something that comes naturally to many business owners. They're, the e-myth, they're the pie maker. They're not necessarily knowing how to run a pie business, but they want to do both. And I want to enable other practitioners who really want to have a successful business and help people get out there and not have it be so stressful, not feeling like they have to just reinvent the wheel and figure it all out on their own. Because I truly believe that there's so much good that we can do for people with our services, but it's just a matter of getting ourselves in front of people, making sure that our message is clear and resonating with folks. It's not that you're not good at what you do if you don't have clients. It's that you just haven't figured out how to position yourself yet and reach
Right.
them, and you just need that
Right.
help to get there.
Learning how to connect with your audience is key. So I want to,
Yeah.
like you just mentioned, you just sort of tossed it off there, but you mentioned it's like the E Myth. And so, for
Mm-hmm.
those who don't know what that is, the E Myth is a book. The E Myth Revisited is a real popular book by Michael Gerber that came out,
Yeah.
I don't know, I think the 90s,
Right.
maybe the 80s, long time ago.
Yeah.
And the basic principle of that book is just, as you just said, pie. I always think cookies. Just
Mm-hmm.
because you know how to bake a good pie doesn't mean you know how to run a bakery or know how to be successful as an owner of a bakery, right? And his point was that you can be the technician who delivers the service. That doesn't mean you know how to be the business owner, the CEO, the person who's going to make this work, which is why these conversations matter. And so I love, it's fascinating that you were a dietitian yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nutritionist,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay. But you love this stuff. You were kind of
Yeah.
drawn to this stuff. I love that. That's very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was using this stuff. So I was in child nutrition. I was helping deliver school meals, first in DC public schools, and then at a national company where we were contracted by districts across the country. And so I had to really find ways to leverage technology to
Mm,
teach thousands of food service workers about food allergies so that they could serve meals and understand how to read food labels and how to handle a
Wow.
child with a food allergy. And so we created an online training using an LMS system. But I wanted to make sure that it was designed so that it was attractive and that it was
Mhm.
easy to understand and engaging. And so just through that work, I realized how important it really is to use these skills and leverage these skills from marketing and
Yeah.
technology and design and apply them to this health and wellness space.
It makes a difference on the receiving end of the client, or in that
Mm-hmm.
case, the students, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
all right. So let's talk about what are some of the misconceptions that people have about websites? And you just start us off
Yeah.
with what we need to know about websites, and we'll go from there. So,
Yeah, I think there's obviously a lot of talk. Everyone's going to have different opinions. And I think it can feel like whiplash a little bit when you're starting your business. This person's saying you should be on social media. This person says you don't need to be on social media. This person says have a
right.
website. This one says don't have a website. So it's like
Yeah,
who to believe, who to trust. And I think it's a very nuanced conversation when it comes to websites. To get your first client, no, you don't need a website.
that's
You can
right.
go and talk to that person and have a conversation. But
Mhm.
notice that you're having to have a conversation with that person. You may have already known that person a little bit. They're not a stranger. They're not cold to you. They're a warm client, and you're having to do some heavy lifting to talk to them. Maybe you're going to talk to them a few times,
Mhm.
explain your services. So that's great for your first couple of clients. But
You do
if
that with the
you,
referral source as well. You talk to a
right,
colleague who's like, "This is what I'm looking for. This is who I can help," but you're having to explain it to your colleagues over and over again. Yep, that's
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they're like, okay, well, how do we get started? And I'll send you an email and then you can fill out this, it's like all very manual, which is fine when you're just getting started. You want to get your feet wet. That's cool. But as you want to grow and as you want to free up your time to travel the world and run your business, or just have more time to be thinking about what's the next step and have more space to serve more clients, just whatever the case may be. We all know that our time is limited and we want to
Mhm.
protect our time as much as possible. So I think I'm preaching to the choir there, but we need something in our business that is more systematized, that has a way to attract these cold leads, these strangers to our business and warm them up and get them interested in working with us and have some of those quote unquote conversations that we're not actually having that conversation, but we are guiding them and giving them information so that by the time they get onto that call with us, they submit that application to work with us, they are feeling like ready to go, or at least a lot
Right.
more educated. And you didn't
Right.
have to spend your time doing all of that, which takes your time. It also takes your energy. Because I don't know about you, but being on a sales call where you feel like you really have to be like selling yourself because that person isn't even sure that you're the right person for them. They maybe don't know anything about you. Like that's just not a fun conversation to
And in fact,
have.
in my world, a lot of therapists in particular avoid that conversation completely.
Yeah.
So they wish they had more clients, or they're drowning in clients and they wish the phone would stop ringing.
Uh-huh.
But the in between of both of those is to make sure that the right clients are calling you, the people you really want to work with and know that you are best suited to serve. And what
Mm-hmm.
you're saying is if you use technology in the right way and your website is the first step, and well, I don't know if it is, but it's an important step in that.
It's an important step. Yeah.
It can make that process so much easier for you and on the client side, right? Like
Yes.
this can
Right.
help you. Hmm.
Right, exactly. We are not just helping ourselves when we talk about having this sales system and this website set up. We are helping our customers and also the customer experience. A lot of times we think about, okay, well, what forms are we going to give people? How are we going to treat them once they become a customer? But some people forget about that the customer experience, the client experience begins before they become a client. If
Right.
you have good systems in place, you're supportive, you're communicating with your tone and you're giving them value and it's all clear and organized before they ever give you a dollar, then they're going to feel, okay, I'm going to get this on the other side of it as well. Versus if your sales process feels a little old, a little disjointed, they have to email you a bunch of times, there's not automations going on, then that's really not a good indication that you're going to have your stuff together on the back end either. And we want to focus
Just
on getting the work done.
Just last week,
Yeah.
literally just last week, I gave the name of 3 or 4 therapists to a friend of mine who was looking for services.
Hmm.
And I checked in with her later to see how that was going. And she said their websites are crap. And this is somebody who's a professional. So she knows, like, she
Hmm.
knows what she's looking for. And I said, I guarantee you they're good people. And so they're just, no, our people are great at what they do. They don't know this stuff. And she said, well, I believe that and I trust that, but their websites are terrible. And like, if you went by that alone, it does not make you want to go call them. Right.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
it sort of sets up a first impression, which I
Hmm.
used to say your parking lot and your front door and your waiting room does that. Like
Oh
everything,
yeah.
everything you do from the front end tells people I am competent.
Yep.
You're going to be taken good care of here.
Yep.
It's going to be okay. You're in the right place and you want to look professional, and your website can do the same thing.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And,
Mm.
it's not to say there are people out there, plenty of people who don't have good websites, don't
Yep.
have, these things in place that are getting clients. But I have to
Yep.
tell you, those clients are the ones that are motivated, that just like you said, this woman has talked to you, she's gotten the referral. She's like, okay, I'll ignore all the cracks and weeds in the parking lot and
Right.
the duct tape front door. I'll walk in, but I'm nervous about this. But
That's
guess
so
what?
true.
For every one of
Yeah.
her, there's 10 other people who are walking by in the street or browsing your website
Yeah.
and saying, you know what? No, I don't feel comfortable,
Right.
because it's a lot easier to go to another website. You just go into Google and you look for,
Yep.
your service providers, and you can click on them, and it's very easy to
Yeah.
go to the next one if you're not feeling welcomed. And especially with the work that we do in this field, building
Yeah.
that trust and having people feel like, okay, I'm going to be protected. I'm going to be safe. This person is a professional. We really need that to come through from the very beginning. So how does all that work behind the scenes? Well, the first thing that we need to be doing is attracting visitors to our website.
Mm-hmm.
One way is through our content. There's lots of different ways. So obviously we can be asking for referrals still. We can be doing talks. We can be doing collaborations. We can be appearing on podcasts. There's so many different ways, but we also want to have our content be out there speaking for us. And so imagine one of your customers is searching online for help with a problem that they're facing in their life, a relationship that they're not sure is going the right way, or they have a symptom that they're trying to figure out, or they're just researching supplements, or they got some scary diagnosis from their doctor and they're not sure
Right.
what to do.
Right.
So we want our content to be what is appearing in Google when they're searching for that, or when they're
Mm-hmm.
searching on TikTok, or when they're searching on Instagram. So wherever
Right.
and you don't have to have all of these platforms, but Google is one of those ones where it pays off for years and years. Whereas some of these other platforms, sometimes the content really doesn't have as much of a shelf life, but putting your blogs out there doesn't have to be a blog a week. There's definitely bloggers out there that are doing it to make a living and generate ad revenue. But I'm just speaking about putting out strategic content that is answering the questions of your customers, so that when they're searching in Google, they're finding you. So
Yeah.
that's the first step. We want some presence out there on Google, on the search engines, so that people are finding our site. Then what happens once they actually find that blog post and start reading it? Well, what we want to be doing is offering then a way for people to stay connected with us and get on an email list, because most of the people that come to your website are not going to book that call or submit that application to work with you on their first visit. They are deciding about different things. They're looking at different practitioners. Maybe they're just browsing right now. They're not sure. There are some people that are sure, but not everyone is sure and ready. So within that blog post, we want to turn that visitor into an email subscriber, which moves them up that ladder of being closer and closer to being ready to work with you. And so we get them on our email list by having a lead magnet, which can be, or it's called sometimes a freebie or an opt-in. It's just some resource that's going to help that person move a little bit further in their journey, answer some questions, give them a small win. It's not a replacement for working with you. I think sometimes there's concern that, oh, I'm giving away too much for free and all of that. And, unless you're putting out a 50-page workbook, which you probably shouldn't be doing, a PDF is not going to replace working with you. But we do want people to get some ahas or get some small wins, so that they can be more ready to work with you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So people are opting in to get that lead magnet by giving you their email address. And so we have that lead magnet prominently embedded in the blog post. We talk about it a little bit. Maybe that's the call to action at the end of the blog post. If you want more help with this, here's this workbook to work through this in more detail. So we want to be, like I said, converting those visitors into our audience, our email list.
So this is a concept that will be completely new to a lot of folks who are in private practice. We think about it. I'm used to this. You're used to this. But if you have not been in the online marketing world, and you've been out of grad school for 3 or 4 years, and you're ready to start a practice, and you've joined some group, and that's all fine because they give you clients. But now you're kind of tired of that, and you want to start your own thing. What do I even do? This concept, guys, that Whitney's talking about is something that no one teaches you this stuff in grad. We don't learn this in grad school. And you don't learn this if you go through some kind of a certification training like life coaching or you're a Reiki master. I doubt that you're getting most of this. The concept that she's talking about here is building an audience of potential clients before they even think about hiring you. Like when they are just beginning to sort of see what's out there, they're beginning to look for some kind of help. There's something they're struggling with and they're researching online and your stuff bubbles up to the top and they're like, what's that? And so what Whitney is describing here is a way that you capture that attention, that connection with them, and you do it in a way where you get their email address and now they are on your mailing list. No, I mean, I never had a mailing list I had a physical mailing list. I was constantly trying to collect addresses of doctors and agencies and hospitals, right? And I would send out Christmas cards or when somebody new joined my group practice, we sent out an announcement, right?
Yeah.
It's so much richer than that. So much richer. So I just want to highlight that because I think that's that simple concept, a lead magnet, I call them a VFO, valuable free offer, something that they download for free that provides real, actual value that they give you their email address in exchange. And now you are building a list. And now we're going from there. This is way before they call you and say, can I make an appointment?
Yep.
So good. So good. Okay.
Yeah, I think building an email list is one of those things that is just not talked about enough and early enough in business because it does not take, and I'll cover how you get started at the end. It does not take, you can set it up for free and have it running. It does not take a lot of time or energy, a lot less time than posting every day on Instagram and figuring out reels and all of that. I think there's so much focus on business owners. Okay, let me go on social media and whatever, but your posts are not getting seen on social media. You don't own that same audience. It's just different. An email list, every business, you will go to Home Depot and they'll ask you, do you want to join the mailing list to get promotions?
Yes.
Every business is trying to build their email list. So there is something to this recommendation. It applies to every business, everyone, everywhere. Email is still a valuable place to be connecting with people. And so let's talk why that is. So like you mentioned, Wendy, people are not ready to work with you yet, but we need to then nurture them and give them more information and more value. So this is definitely not okay, they opted for the lead magnet. Now I'm going to email them and ask them to book a discovery call right away. We do need some patience here, but we can set up automations to get this running. And the ideal scenario is that you are sending them valuable content. You might have a welcome sequence, which is basically just a series of emails that you've set up in your email platforms like ConvertKit and MailChimp that is introducing yourself to people because you may have some of this content on your website, but they maybe didn't read through all of it yet. And so you're just saying a little bit about who you are, what you do, what people can expect. You can link to other valuable content that you've put out. Maybe it was a blog post or you were on a podcast or you gave a talk or it's another lead magnet or resource. So you're again, giving this great experience before they become a client. So they're actually getting value. They are moving along in terms of their understanding of their problem. You can be overcoming objections too. You can be saying, I know you may be thinking X because maybe you've tried Y, but I'm here to tell you that actually Z. And those kinds of things can just build so much trust, because what we want our customers to be feeling is that we understand them and we get them, and that we are going to then have a solution that is tailored to them and it's actually going to help them. But they're not going to know that unless we actually use the words that they're using. And this goes along with the copy on your website too. Whether you're putting it in emails that you're using to nurture folks, same thing on your services page, your homepage, all of that is using copy that's actually going to resonate with our customers and build that empathy and all of that. But what happens with the email, so typical person, they'll get that email and they'll read through it. And maybe you have a blog post in there. And so they go and read that and they're like, oh, this is really good. And then the dog comes in and they're covered in mud. And so they have to leave the computer, or the kids come home from school or whatever. And so they leave your website mid-blog read and they forget. And then you email them 2 weeks later, though, with something else that's really interesting and engaging. And maybe this time you're talking a little bit more about your services, and it catches their eye and they're like, oh, yeah, she's got a point. And they go to your website and they read more about your services and you have more information there. And then they're like, yeah, you know what? This is sounding pretty good, but I have a few questions. But guess what? Your services page has an FAQ section that talks about the common questions that you get asked. And then you're this customer here is like, okay, this is sounding pretty good, but what's some of her background? I'm not really sure about that. So then they go to your about page and they read some anecdotes you have about your background, why you're passionate about this topic. Maybe you have some fun facts and they say, oh, she's a Game of Thrones fan too. Okay. I like her already.
I like the picture of her dog.
Right. Who knows?
Yep.
It's one of those things, though, to remember too, is our about page is about our customer. We are talking about ourselves, but we are sharing information that's going to resonate with our customer so that they can see, okay, I can be trusted. I'm like you. I have that background to help you. I'm an expert, but I'm also a human that understands what you're going through. And so they're looking for those connection points. We want to work with people we like, right? And that's that factor that we hear sometimes in marketing, the know, like, and trust factor. So we want to be building all of that. And that's where this kind of beautiful cycle and system is working people through between the emails and then the content on your website and other resources that you're sharing with them. They're getting moved through. So let's say, for example, this person gets distracted again and they leave the about page and, but then they get another email from you. And this time you've got every email should have a link to book a call, to go to your services page. And then finally they're like, okay, yep, I'm ready. And they book a call, they get on that call. And again, it's a great, easy conversation because they already have been educated about the different things over a period of time. It hasn't been rushed. It's been on their schedule.
Right.
So you've been doing those little touch points. Your systems and your website have been doing those touch points and giving that information for them where they needed it, when they needed it, so that then when they connect with you, they're already primed and ready to then move forward to the next step of becoming a customer.
That's important. Then when they connect with you, they're already primed and ready. That's what all of this. So what you're doing, Whitney, is you're walking us through what this looks like kind of from a top level, right? So we're going through what all of it could be. And I'm thinking people are going to be like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. What? Wait, what? We're going to break it down, guys. So don't get overwhelmed. We're going to break it down. This is just a high level sort of overview of how this would work. This entire section of what you're talking about, Whitney, here is getting them primed and ready. So when they hop on the phone with you, they're just ready to book an appointment. That's where we're going. Good.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's happening with the systems that we've built.
Yes.
So now we can talk through how to get started and where, if I were you listening, where you could focus first, because I covered a lot and I did the jumping around to show that is what our customers do, but there's some elements that we need to have in place and it's pretty stepwise. So number one, the first thing I would do is make sure that you have an easy way for people to book a discovery call or submit an application that has automations behind it. Because your goal as a service provider is to get people on the phone if you do sales calls or if you're doing applications, to get them to submit an application. So the most important thing is to make it easy for your website visitors to book a call. And in the beginning stages of your business, you might be doing more of that referral, more one-to-one connection with people, but you're still going to be sending them to your website. And so we want that system to be in place. That's like, if you think about a marketing funnel or the way someone is going to move through, the end is booking a call, that first step of actually becoming that lead that you're going to talk to on a sales call. So before you focus on all the other stuff, make sure that that is solid and that that's working, because that can be a big turnoff to people if they come to your website or they hear about you and all you have is, we'll call this number to schedule an appointment, or just send me an email to schedule an appointment, or submit this contact form that is just generic. What's your name, email, what's your message for me? All of those are not going to support the customer in the way so many customers are buying these days, where they're looking for, what is that immediate way that I can actually make sure I'm connecting with a human and there's going to be a valuable interaction. And so I recommend having that call so this can be pretty easy to do using whatever platform. There, a lot of the EHRs, or the electronic health records and client management platforms, allow the call scheduling as part of it. But there's also Acuity and Calendly, but then Simple Practice and Practice Better. All of them allow you to have that scheduler for a free call. You can also use it for scheduling client appointments, but we want to have that initial sales call. And, it can be 15 minutes, it can be 30 minutes. You can decide how you want that call to go, and permission to change it as time goes on too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I was just thinking, I can feel, I'm thinking, just for you to say, want to book that sales call, they're gonna be like, sales call? Ugh. Yeah. It's not a sales call. Right. And it is a common thing I talk about psychotherapy a lot because that's what I know the best, but this does apply to pretty much anyone who does this kind of work. I just did a sound bathing appointment with someone a few weeks ago, completely different business, but very similar in so many ways, right?
Yep.
When a client calls us, a potential client reaches out to us for a phone call, we're not thinking of it as a sales call. We're thinking of it, can I help them? Am I going to be what they need, et cetera? But y'all, it is a sales call. Make no mistake about it. This is a sales call. And if that makes you squirm, I again invite you to kind of find your way past that, because you're running a business. This isn't a nonprofit. This isn't volunteer work. It is a business. Okay.
Yep.
And as I often say, your purpose may be to make the world a better place, but the purpose of your business is to make money. And that comes with clients and customers. Okay. And so this is part of that. So sales call, if you don't want to call it that, call it something else, but that is what it is.
I'm just calling it that because, discovery call is sometimes used, but people will call them other kinds of free consultation.
Initial consultation, free consultation. I actually don't do that anymore. I stopped doing that several years ago. And my first contact with a client is a paid in-person consult, a significant one, but I set it up that way. And what you're saying is, you need a system that has a very clear phone number, email, sort of call to action. What do I do now that I've done this whole nurturing phase? And all right, you've got me. I'm interested. I'm leaning forward. Now what do I do? And you're saying use your systems to make this as easy as possible with phone number, email, or a contact form. And I know you're going to talk about what to do with the contact form, and have a scheduling tool. I use Acuity scheduling. A lot of people use Calendly. There's a bunch of, but make that, and my people, they resist this, Whitney. You would be surprised how many people resist this, because I have this argument with people all the time.
Yeah.
I don't want to have a scheduling. I want to talk to them. What if I don't want to talk to them? Right? Like I'm always saying,
let's unpack that.
Yeah, seriously. I preach it all the time. Maybe they'll hear it from somebody else.
Yeah, right. Everyone has a slightly different way of talking about it, although I'm sure there will be overlap. And I will say too, I don't really do too many sales calls these days in terms of just my business. I still do allow it in part of my process. But I think it's something, like you pointed out, you can change over time. When you're getting started in your business, I think this is a great way to get customers and leads. This is also learning, because you are learning from the people that come on the call. You're getting to hear their objections, and you are sharpening your sales skills, whether you like it or not.
Right.
You need to actually interact with people to understand if how you are positioning your services and how you're actually structuring your services is what people need. And the best way to do that is to be getting on the phone with people. And in my opinion, I think that's the fastest way to do it, especially as you're getting started and trying to figure things out. But when it comes to, I don't want to talk to people, or I mean, if you're a therapist, you're going to have to talk to people, or for most business owners, but or not sure if it's going to be a good conversation. I would say make sure that your form connected to the scheduler is actually asking some pointed questions. And that has also been an evolution for me in my business. In the beginning, I think I didn't have prices on my website, but then I soon realized, well, people are coming on the phone and they're getting sticker shock because they had no idea what the prices were for things. So I think in time, you can either have prices or you can have starting at, or whatever the case may be. And you could have a little checkbox on your form saying, have you reviewed my prices? Are you, if things go well, are you ready and willing to invest in working on this? So I think that's one thing, so that you don't have to have that weird conversation of like, well, are you going to ask about the price? Am I going to ask the price? Like no one really
you're
knows
weeding
about
them
the
out
price.
on the front end. Like, let's get clear about this on the front end.
Yeah. It's qualifying your leads right there.
It's qualifying your leads.
Yeah. And I think 2 questions, and you can ask more, although I wouldn't make your form super long, is what are you struggling with right now in regards to whatever it is that you help people with? What's the biggest issue that you're struggling with? And you could make it fun. You can do this however you want your brand voice to be. You could say, if I waved a magic wand, what would life look like for you in regards to this problem? Or what's the top thing that you're really hoping that we can work on and achieve for you together? And you can read those responses. And if it turns out that that person doesn't seem like the right fit, you have permission to email them back and say, thank you so much for reaching out and wanting to talk and for giving such thoughtful answers. After reviewing it, I think based on the, what you said, that I may not be the right fit for you.
Right.
If you have other people you can refer them to, or other places, that's totally fine. Or you can just say, I just want to be respectful of your time and let you know that I think that this isn't going to be the right fit. And however you want to handle that. So,
and I'm a big fan of giving them other resources. I think even if you're not the one to serve them, try to give them something, 2 or 3, like a couple of names or a website or something online that you know about, because you're still serving that way, and that will help you feel less guilty about saying no to somebody. And it also supports your business, because then you get known as someone who really is trying to help, even when you're not seeing them yourself. Right. And that will come back to you tenfold in many, many, many good ways.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So number 1, have that book a call, and then the responses on those questions can allow you to do a better job when you're figuring out copy on your website, because people might be using words to describe things that you're not using. In your emails, you can be starting to learn from that. And then also it just helps you prepare that script for that discovery call that you're going to have, so that you can really speak to, okay, this is what you told me you're having an issue with. I think this service is really going to help you achieve X, Y, and Z, because this is how, this works. So it helps for a more productive call as well.
Yeah.
And I would say the call to action on your site should be to book that call or that application. You should still have a contact page. You can still have that contact form. Can still have your email or phone number, whatever you choose. But I would be directing people to that book a call. And having that call to action be clear on every page of your site, on your blog post, on your about page, on your services page, multiple places. I see folks who just don't put that call to action, like in the header there in the hero section before you even scroll. In the navigation, you should have it, because people are scrolling, they're looking around.
Yeah.
Don't make them hunt and peck.
Don't make it hard for me to figure out how to find you. Where are you? How do I? Okay, you got me. What do I do? Like, don't make me have to look. Don't make it in teeny tiny letters. Don't make it where I can't even hardly see it. Don't make it at the bottom of the page that I completely missed. And don't assume that I saw it in the one place you put it. Put it over and over and over and over again. I get it. That's so good. That's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, this is golden. This is golden.
Yeah. And my favorite thing to do too is to keep people on your website. And so a lot of these, all of these schedulers allow you to embed the scheduler on a page on your site. So that's my preference too, just to have it so that it's all still branded. They're not going to a separate platform. And it's like, and starting to kind of get distracted, it's all there on the site. And so that's a number one. Make sure that you have that in place even before you start all of these nurturing activities and all of that, because that's how that's the money maker.
Right.
That is the conversion point.
Right.
So get that going. Also, because if you're handling all of these leads just one at a time, when you do go out there and start bringing traffic in, you're going to start feeling the burden of just managing all of this on your own manually and all of that too. So get the system in place to prepare you for what's next and to scale. So then after that, the other thing that I would really focus on is getting that lead magnet set up, because we've talked about how important the email list is, and having that valuable resource on there and having a system set up, whether it's ConvertKit or MailChimp, to deliver that resource. It can be just a simple email that has the PDF attached to it. A lot of these platforms, you just upload it, or you upload it to a different spot and you put the link to that PDF. It sends to people, and then have some kind of regular cadence. Either have a welcome sequence if you can do it, or just have a regular plan to email people on your list every 2 weeks, every week, every month, if that's all you can handle right now. And just staying in touch, giving valuable resources, and then also sharing how you can help people and have that nurturing aspect in there. And then the kind of top part of the funnel would be attracting audience. And so you can get some blogs out there so that those can be out there and attracting people, and then doing other things like networking and referrals, and knowing that when you're sending people to your website now, there's a system there where they can be learning about your services, learning about you in much more detail, and getting on your email list or booking a call, so that system can be working. And you just kind of keep expanding out from there. But if we don't have that solid foundation on our website, then really all of this other work that we're doing to kind of drum up a traffic and interest and all of that, it becomes more laborsome. It's not as effective. You're not going to have as many people converting into customers because, they're not qualifying themselves from the content in the website, than the content on your website that you're putting out there. So
y'all, do you know what she means when she's talking about qualifying a lead? Like, what that means is that you may have, you may get, 20, 25 calls every couple of weeks for new clients. They're not all right for you. Maybe there's somebody looking for help for their kids and you don't see kids. Or there's somebody looking for couples work and you don't do couples, right? Or they only want somebody who takes insurance and you don't do insurance anymore. Now, there is a way to handle that that's a little bit different. But a qualified lead is someone who already more or less fits the criteria of the kind of people that you work with, right? Yeah. And has already also, they are qualified. They're making sure that you fit what they're looking for. So it's a mutual winnowing here, a mutual sort of fine tuning, sort of narrowing down process. And what you're saying is, the main thing I'm hearing you is like, before you do anything else, anything at all from the very beginning, make sure that your website, on every page on your website, has a very easy to spot way with clear directions for contacting you. That's the very first thing. Do that first. Once you've got that in place, then go back and create this lead magnet, this free tool, this free giveaway that will invite them to connect with you. And then you're talking about the welcome sequence. So what she means by that, I'm translating this, Whitney, because I don't think, right? What she means by that is a series of emails that are automated, that you have written in advance, that sort of follows up on whatever that cool thing is that they download. Okay. So for those of you who've been following me for a while, you know that I offer something called the IP360 scorecard. It's a free thing that you can download. That's kind of a self-assessment of your practice. What's working, what isn't, where do you need to focus in terms of your growth? When you download that from my website, you will get a series of emails that come over a few days after that, over the next week or two, that help you learn how to use that tool in more depth, right? That's a nurture sequence, a welcome sequence. That's what she's talking about. So, okay. And that takes work, guys. That takes work.
Yeah.
You got to write all that. You got to get it set up. Once it's set up, though, it is automatic. It is like you won't even know it's happening. This is running in the background. And what you are doing is making a good impression on people. You are serving people. You are teaching people already. you are connecting with them already. And you don't even know you're doing it. So it's time on the front end, but it is time well spent. It's just worth doing. Okay.
Yep. Absolutely.
I just want to,
Yeah.
because we're using concepts that I think not everybody gets, and we're kind of going quick. So I just want to make sure people get it. Okay. Because what you're saying
the glossary.
here, well, yeah, for real, we should do that. But I know you teach this stuff, and it takes weeks, months years sometimes to learn some of this stuff. So I just kind of want to make sure people know what we're talking about.
Exactly. And it's not all built in a day. And so today, what I covered is really that systematic side of your website, but then there is this other side of it. And we'll talk about the resource that I have for folks that's free to really dive into this other side of what's on your website. Is it connecting with people? How are we laying out the services? How are we guiding people to the different pages? What does the branding look like? I've touched on copy a little bit, but that's really critical. We want people to land on your site and not be repelled and look at it and say, oh, this looks nice. What does my copy look like? Am I using the words that my customers use? And that is just something you learn and gain over time. And that would be another piece of advice I would say to folks is it can be tough because in the moment when we're on a discovery call and talking with a client, we're in it and we're not necessarily stepping back and being like, that's a word that I haven't heard someone use before to describe.
It's learning to think like a marketer, right? Notice, and when you're using your client's language, like literally using their language in your copy, that's going to help you. We do this as therapists. We are trained, right?
Yes.
We're trying to quote join with the client. I don't know if you all taught this, but I was taught this, that literally one of the skills I learned as a social worker is how to match my language to fit whoever I'm working with. So if I'm in front of a client who is a CEO from a tech company who just moved here from New York City, I'm going to be talking to them differently than I'm talking to a grandmother from a farm in Middle Tennessee. Who and I mean nothing by that. They just use different language.
Different problems,
metaphors,
different concerns.
Right. So you will speak more formally in one case, more casually in another. You will use more. You match your clients.
The examples that you use, or the little slang terms, or like you said, the metaphors. They're going to be different versus someone that's living a life in one place versus another, and whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So copy is important.
Yeah. So anyone who does get stressed about writing copy and feels like, it's just really tough. I think just drawing back to what you just mentioned, that this is something that you actually do in your day-to-day when you're working with clients and you may not even realize it. And so you just kind of need to pull back a little bit and say, okay, well, how can I take some of those thoughts and words and use them when I am describing my services or describing the problems that my customers face, and making sure that that's on the website, because the same reason that we would use it in a session with a client is the same reason that we need to have it on our website. We want them to feel seen and heard and understood. And that's what our website has to be doing for people to want to work with us.
Yeah. And they're not going to really care that much about your credentials. They're not going to care where you went to school. They're going to care if you get them.
Yeah.
Right?
You can put those credentials later on. They're not going to care about those until they feel like, okay, you actually understand, what I'm going through. And so that's the difference between a website that is just out there that you were told to set up because, you were getting your business name together and you bought your domain, you set up a Wix site or a Squarespace site, and you found some template that looked really nice and you put some copy in there 2 years ago, but haven't come back to it and haven't thought about it and have been focusing on all different things. Now is the time, hopefully, after this episode to say, oh, okay, my website could be working a lot more for me and doing a lot more. And I think it can be tough for us to see that possibility because we just are like, well, this is just how it is. My website's not good. And other people that have booming businesses have just figured something else out that I don't have. But I have to tell you, having this powerful website behind you, you're also going to feel more proud of it. You're going to feel more professional and pulled together and say, okay, I've got this system behind me. So it is really important to invest in it. It does take time, though. This is not something that happens overnight. Don't be kicking yourself if you don't have a lead magnet yet, or you don't have a welcome sequence. I've rewritten my welcome sequences multiple times, and I have on my to-do list, I have to write my welcome sequence right now. And I
Yes.
have to be honest, I'm dreading it a little bit.
Yes,
But
totally. Totally. This is deep work. This is not easy work.
right.
This is not something you're going to sit
Oh,
down and do in a half an hour.
no.
It takes me days to do this kind
Yeah.
of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But like
Yeah.
you mentioned, it's a system. You do it once and then it's working. And then you can go about doing whatever else you need to do in your business and focusing on serving your clients and doing whatever. So yeah, having these things in place is going to help you create that more consistency, more predictability, because for anyone who has that business that's relying on referrals or, other kind of those peaks and valleys where suddenly it's really busy and then it's crickets, having an email list of people that you've been continually keeping up with. If you're in a slow time, there's nothing wrong with you sending a little flash sale or a little discount or some other little promotion to folks to say, hey, if you've been thinking about it, now's your chance. This is my birthday sale, summer sale.
Well, y'all, at the time that this episode's going live, we're heading into the holidays, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could, like, if you already have built your audience, and y'all don't think of them that way, but they are your audience. They're people who like you. They're your followers. They're your tribe, right? They're your people.
Yep.
All you have to do is say, hey, guys, I know we're heading to the holidays. It's a crazy time for families. Need a little extra support? I'm setting up a series of 2-hour sessions. Normally it would be $400. You can do it for $250 this or something like that, like something crazy. Or I'm going to do a special half-day seminar on how to cope for the holiday, how to manage families politics at family dinner on Thanksgiving, whatever.
Yep.
And you've already got the list. You send it out to your list that you're announcing this special little thing that you're doing. You can also say, I've got a little extra time, guys. People are taking some breaks for the holidays. I am not. I'm going to be here and I know you need support. So don't be afraid to schedule. Here's my link in case you want to hop on. And I will tell you guys, I do this all the time. Y'all know I have a teeny tiny little counseling practice that I keep going, just a little one in the background. I still email regularly to my list, to that list, not my coaching side, but that list. And every time an email goes out, somebody pops up on my calendar. They're like, I've been meaning to call you. And I just keep forgetting. Yeah, here, I need to come see you every single time. Yeah.
Yep. And it does not matter if your list is 30 people or 300 people or 3,000 people.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, if they're still there, they care about what you're saying and want to hear from you. And you can also feel if you have been giving value and helping people and giving content out regularly, you don't have to feel bad that now you're going to ask for a sale.
Right.
I think folks that haven't emailed their list in 6 months are then like, well, I can't just now randomly send out this email. They haven't heard
That's a good
from
point.
me,
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, that's a mistake, guys. Don't do that. Okay.
Don't do that.
That's a really good point, Whitney. Don't never talk to them until you're trying to bring some people in. You do need to send them something on some kind of a regular basis. If you only call a friend when you want a favor, that's not a very good friend. But when you are serving, right. Yeah. Don't do that. Right. Yeah. So you do need to be in some kind of regular contact, whatever that looks like for you. Then you can ask for the sale. Right.
Yep.
Glad you brought that up.
Yeah. The emails do not have to be long. You do not need to overthink it. And especially, honestly, if you are seeing clients every single week, I'm sure you're talking about issues and problems that other people on your email list are facing. And you can use those. And we all know confidentiality and all of that. You're not going to go that far, but you're going to talk about an issue that maybe is coming up for other people. And you can just use that as inspiration and have a little anecdote, a little, here's one tip that you can use about that. It does not have to be a long involved. I know some people, we see other people sending out these emails that are super long or they're super clever.
Nobody wants to read that. No.
Yeah. No, too long. And it's totally fine. And you just have to start with where you are too, and if you haven't emailed your list in 6 months, here's your sign to just send an email.
There you go.
Just do it. Don't feel bad about it. Just do it. Get back on the horse and then it can start working for you and you can get back to supporting these people that signed up for your email list.
Right. That's really good. That's really good. Do you want to talk a little bit, Whitney, about what a good website should have and should not? Do you want to hit some highlights?
Other few things? Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that I cover more in the freebie that folks can download as well. But definitely.
Go ahead and tell us about that if you want to. If you want to go ahead and tell people what you've got to, because I know you have put together something special that's new that I'm excited to share.
Yeah, I've been working on a new resource. I'm still, by the time this episode launches, it will be done and ready to go. But I'm putting the finishing touches on it right now, and I think it's going to be a really involved and deep look at, okay, these are the things that you need to have on your site and how you can self-assess whether you have these things. So I'm going to be covering that branding and design aspect. And is it mobile responsive? Most people are browsing on their phones these days, or if they see you on Instagram or hear about you in some other, they're checking their email, they click on a link, they're going to go to your website on their phone. How does it look on their phone?
Yep.
Is it going to be easy to navigate? We don't want elements and buttons that are hidden or overlapping and all of that. So that can be a huge piece of it. And then we also want to have the copy on there that's forming connection. And so talking more about that and diving into that, having the services on the site. And we've talked a little bit about how you handle pricing and how you talk about that and describing the benefits of the services, not just the features, okay.
Yes.
45-minute session and we're going to cover this and you're going to get notes afterwards. Like, okay, well, that's just like everyone else. That's not really
right
describing what is the benefit that I get from actually working with you and all of that. So
it's
we want
the
to
so that it's the so that what James Wedmore calls it. Like, so you're going to get a 45-minute session plus some notes afterwards so that you get a reminder of the key points that we went over today and your homework is clear for you. Or we're going to be, I don't know, whatever the features and the benefits is. Like, the feature are the literal things that you're doing. The benefit is the good that it does.
Right.
You're going to get this so that it does this for you. It helps you in this way. Right. Yes.
Because
you always want to spell it out.
Right. As the practitioner, we know why we're including that in our service offering, but our customers don't know why that is important. And we need to spell that out and say, yeah, this is why we're doing this and XYZ and how it can help you. We really need to convince them, okay, that these are the things that I've chosen to help you solve your problem. And this is why they're going to help you. This is how they're going to help you solve your problem. So there's that piece of it. Also having some social proof. We didn't talk about that a whole lot, but having some testimonials from clients, some anecdotes, because again, our potential customers are on the website looking to see themselves and to see that you actually are going to address the problems that they have and that they're experiencing. And what better way to have that happen than for them to read stories from other customers that you've helped who are saying, well, I was struggling with this before I started working with Wendy, and now I'm feeling like this. And so it's just so important to have those testimonials on your website, also weave them into emails that you're sending out. So really critical to have that on the website as well.
And there is a common misunderstanding about that in the mental health world, that you can't do that there's not that's unethical, but that's not true. There are lots of ways to use testimonials that are completely fine, that are very protective of people's privacy. I won't go into that here. I think I have actually done an episode or two about that. If not, I need to. But there's lots of ways. I think I have. There's lots of ways to do this that your clients are completely protected, y'all. Lots of ways. So don't buy that you can use testimonials.
Yeah. And I will also add that you do not need to use the full paragraph length testimonial that someone gave you either. You can pull out the things that are relevant to. I've seen some websites where it's just like, it's a beautiful testimonial, but it's so long and it's just a chunk of text. We want people to read what we put on our website.
So a highlighted sentence, something in bold, a pull quote, right? A key phrase. Yep.
All of that is totally fine. And then the final thing that we haven't talked about a lot, but we talked about blogging, is just also having your website optimized for SEO, for search engine optimization. So you have done some research on the keywords and the phrases that your customers are using to search for your services in Google, making sure that you are using those keywords in the copy that's on your website and the titles and meta descriptions. And those are things that will be covered more in the guide, but it doesn't have to be a long drawn out process to just do some simple optimization on your site. And then as you continue to grow your business and all of that, having a content strategy to publish some kind of content, whether it's a blog or maybe you prefer to do a podcast, and you can put those podcasts on your website, the transcript or a little blog post summarizing that, just some way that there's content on your website that is helping you be found in addition to just the pages that you have, but actually having some longer form content. And then local SEO too. If you are servicing in a local community, focusing on some local SEO.
Local SEO is something I don't think about. That's a good point. I
Yeah.
have not thought about that before. Do you
Yeah.
want
I'm
to say a
just
little bit
finding
more?
some
Like,
curious.
what's the difference between local SEO and whatever the opposite of that is? Global?
Well, I mean, the simplest thing is just making sure that you're talking about the location that you serve and putting that, you could put that in the footer of your site so that those terms, serving the greater Chicago area,
Oh,
and
yeah.
just having that in your footer and on your contact page saying who you serve, and in your FAQs saying the area you serve. So you're just sending those signals to Google that when someone is saying they're
Ah,
in Chicago and they're saying therapist near
ah,
me, that your site is showing up. And there's also your Google
excellent.
My Business listing. So there's a few things that you can be doing. And if you are remote and virtual and you don't want to be doing that, that's totally fine too. But if you are
Mm-hmm.
local, definitely don't neglect the local SEO as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. And those of you who are, it's beginning to happen that people are licensed in more than one state.
Mm-hmm.
But that's happening. So you can say the states that you're like, if you are working remotely, long distance, you can say telehealth provided to people, residents of these states, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
I interviewed a therapist who's licensed in like 4 or 5 different states. She hadn't planned it that
Perfect.
way. That's just kind of how it had evolved as she moved around. She had also
Yeah.
been someone who moved around a lot.
Yep.
That would have been good for her. So
Good for
that's a
her.
really good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
You talk a lot about how I feel like we're like blasting people because there's so much good stuff here. And I want to tell people this is worth going back and listening to again. And I really do want to encourage you to follow Whitney and tune into what because everything she's doing, talking you guys through here, I have spent thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars learning from coaches, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as she's talking, I'm going, oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. But 10 years ago, I would have been going, what? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, what? So
Yeah.
she's right. Everything she's saying here is right. And it's just it's just learning new language and implementing a few new tools. But what I hear you saying is turn your website into a system, a marketing system
Mm-hmm.
that will serve your clients better because they'll know more about you. They'll know more about the problem they're looking for help with. But it also is a sales system. It will
Mm-hmm.
bring you money
Yeah.
because you will get clients who are already predisposed towards hiring you,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's that. I mean, you said the first time you and I talked, you said something about I want people to know that their website isn't just a static page, that it's a
Yeah.
24-hour marketing and sales system, sales and marketing
Mm-hmm.
system. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Because it just, for the longevity of our business, we need something working behind the scenes, doing
Yeah.
those things. And also it just increases your perceived value, and
Yeah.
you're seen as the expert because you have this system in place that is professional and working. And so people are, we all have value and things to offer to our clients, but if our online presence is not really giving that message, then it just becomes a bit tougher to convince people that we are worth that investment. And so this
Yeah.
just gives you a little bit more of a leg up, and you have spent the time building this out. I mean, it's not like, oh
Yes.
yeah, well, I didn't put much thought or energy into this. Like, no, you spent the time to really make it a great experience for your customers. And so they're, like we've talked, keep coming back to, they're going to feel like they're going to be taken care of once they give you their credit card and
Yeah.
become a customer as well.
Yes. And that if you know how to help them on this end, then you're also going to be able to help them with the real stuff, the deeper stuff, the
Yeah.
painful stuff, right?
Right.
The important
Right. Oh,
stuff. Yeah.
she or he is giving away this information and this much value for free up front.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I really, it seems like her time is super valuable and she's an expert. I want to work with her one-on-one, and I know I'm going to get even more value from that relationship.
Guys, I'll tell you a funny story and then we will bring this to a close, but this ties perfectly in with what Whitney is saying. So, so y'all know that I ran a group counseling practice for like 25 years and I sold that practice a few years ago. But when I was running that towards the end of my time at that practice, I spent a couple of years updating the website and really building it out in a custom way. It was a beautiful website. It was really, really top notch. We had a really rich story to tell. I wanted to make sure we did. It was a thriving practice, blah, blah, blah. And I wanted the website to reveal to match the quality of the practice. And I wanted it to do a lot of work on the front end before people ever called us, because we were deluged with phone calls all the time. And I needed to weed people out. I needed people to know what they were getting into. So I put a lot of work into that website. When I left that practice, when I sold the practice and moved away, I took my 2 or 3 little pages off of that website and had my VA just go and grab me some domain name that I made up on the spot, and I parked that stuff over there. So I had something somewhere that my people could still find me. I put no work into it. I don't even tell anybody how to find it because I have not worked on it. It is not a thing of beauty. And the first time Whitney and I talked, she said, well, I saw both of your websites. And I went, oh no, you saw the other one?
I was like, no judgment, horrified. No judgment.
It was really funny. Well, so this is where I'm going somewhere with this. I am not proud of that site, and one of the things I'm going to be doing in the first quarter of 2000, this is actually part of my plan, in Q1 of next year, is to revamp that website because it needs it, and I'm tired of it. So I'm going to work on that. But even in a website that is not pretty, is not something I want to post out there because I don't really need it. That's not really what I'm promoting all the time. I still have a video on the homepage that does what I want it to do. And I still have the systems in place that you're talking about, right? And one of the things that I do, the way I do things, is that people go to my website and they watch that video. And if they like what they see there, I invite them to schedule a 2-hour consult. And that happens all the time. And a few months ago, I had a woman walk in, had never talked to her on the phone, no email at all. She did it. It was all automated through the system. She walks in for her first appointment. And the very first time I met her, she said, oh my gosh, I saw that video and I thought you were talking to me.
Wow.
Right. So like it sort of blew her away because it nailed what she needed. And I just said, well, good. That worked. Great. My point being, your website doesn't have to be pretty, but it does need to be functional, and it does need to be automated, and it does need to speak to them where they are. And if it does, you will get business out of it, even when you're sort of hiding your site. Right?
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. It does not have to be $20,000, $100,000, even $5,000 website. It doesn't have to have all these bells and whistles and moving parts and all of that, but it does need to be effective in connecting to your customer and making them feel seen and heard, and then having those automations and systems in place.
Yeah. And once you've got that, then yes, clean it up, polish it up, make it like, yes, take it up a notch. Like your first office may be a whole, a room in the back of a dentist that you're not exactly proud of. Right. But someday you're going to want a nice office with nice furniture and plenty of parking, right? So same thing with your website. You want it to match your level of expertise, your professionalism, and you want it to reflect. There's a reason why you are a premium priced service provider, right? You do good work. You charge high fees for a reason. You serve at a really deep level, and your website eventually will need to reflect that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Lots of layers to that in there.
Yeah, for sure. Right. So, and websites can be an emotional thing too. I've definitely heard, practitioners and business owners say that they're not proud of their site. And so they're not promoting themselves. They're not taking a speaking opportunity because it requested a website and they're, not proud of it yet. And so even to what you're saying, you're not wanting people to find it. You're cringing when you hear people finding it. So that, I mean, for you, you're not necessarily wanting to grow that business so much at this point, but for anyone who is wanting to grow, imagine having something that you're not proud of, having a house and you never want to invite guests over. Well, you're not really going to grow those friendships and, have something that you can be proud of. It does more for you than you even think, in your business. So
it's an energy, it's an alignment, right? The energy is off. If you don't feel good about it, your energy is going to be out of alignment, and you will be your own internal resistance will sabotage your intakes, your new calls, right? So lots of reasons to get this right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Goodness, Whitney, you are such a great resource. I'm definitely going to be referring people to you, and because I'm constantly having people who are trying to figure out where to go for help with this kind of thing. So
Hmm.
I'm so happy to have met you and to know about your work. Your website has a lot of rich stuff to dive into there. People should definitely go look at that.
Yep.
Why don't you tell people they're like, okay, you got me, Whitney. What do I do? What's my
Right.
call to action, Whitney?
Yeah, yeah. So I would say the first step, so yeah, my website's whitneybateson.com. You can head there and dive into resources. But the resource that we were speaking about today is my new free resource. It's the 6 must-haves every wellness professional's website needs. So that's anyone here listening today. It will apply to you and your business. And so you can download that. We've got the link. It's whitneybateson.com/website-essentials.
Okay.
And it's really going to lead you through that process. And then it will also say at the end how I can help you. And so I do offer a website program. It is a done with you website program. So it's really unique in the fact that there's a lot that my team and I take off your hands. We have designs that we'll install for you, and we have templates for your copywriting and your branding and all of that. And then we have lessons teaching you how to set up your lead magnet, how to write your copy in a way that's going to connect with customers using our templates. And then we teach you how to take the designs that we've set up for you and finish kind of shining it up for your business, putting your services in there and all of that. We teach you about SEO foundations and how to launch your site. So it's a great hybrid approach for anyone who is also looking to, not go and spend thousands and thousands on a designer to never know how to edit their site or feel confident in editing their site in the future. But also definitely not that DIY where you're having to figure everything out or using a template that isn't set up for conversions. And okay, well, now what's my step 1 and what's my step 2? I have it all laid out in this program. It's called the Wellness Pro website system. So if you come and you can get on my website, you'll see it there. And in this download, you'll see it. And if you're on my email list, you'll hear about it. So we open enrollment a few times a year. And it's always just a joy to help people through that. I get to interact with and support a lot of really great business owners and just give them also that moral support to get it going, because like I alluded to, the website can be an emotional thing. You're having to make a lot of decisions about am I going to put the prices on my site and how do I want to position that and all of that. Sometimes we need a little coach on the side to say, you can do it.
Yeah, you said to me actually the last time we talked, you said something about putting a website together forces you to get clear and to make decisions about things, about who you are, who you serve, how you serve them. And that in turn will build confidence because you've made those decisions, which I think was a really, really good point.
And that's why knowing how to edit your website as you continue to learn and navigate and interact with customers and see, oh, I should change this wording. Oh, actually, I want to add a new service. Knowing how to do those things yourself instead of having to go and try and message your old developer designer who isn't returning your emails anymore.
My gosh.
No. So we have maintenance plans and care plans as well for folks. And we support over 100 business owners' websites at this point. So we're not going anywhere, and we're there to help you grow. Yeah.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's really great. And that is such a fantastic point. I'll say this and I promise I'm going to quit. But if I learned anything over the years, it is that I need to be able to edit my own site if I want to. Now I have a crackerjack team, and I have a VA that people here on the podcast have met, Queenie, who is my right hand everything person. I love that woman and so much. But if I have to, I can do things myself. And because years ago, I spent a couple thousand dollars on a new site. And it ended up being, I've forgotten what happened, but the company that did it for me would not give me the controls to it. And I don't remember now what happened or why. It's been a long time ago, but I remember thinking, I'm never letting this happen again. You will want to change things. You will want, you don't have to understand all the tech, but you will want to go in and go, I don't like the way that paragraph reads. I want to fix that. Right.
Yep. So I got new headshots. I want to update that. Yeah. Absolutely.
So Whitney, this is great. We will definitely put a link below to your website, Whitney Bateson, y'all. That's Bateson. We'll put that below. We'll also make sure that they know about your new guide,
Yeah.
because that sounds like a really practical tool. And that will actually
Mhm.
probably conceptualize in writing a lot of what you've heard today. That'll help you.
Yes. Yep.
Right. Before we close, I always like to ask people, is there anything that I haven't asked you, anything we haven't talked about, anything that you just feel called to share that will make this conversation complete?
Well, I thank you for the question and for having me here. And I feel like we have covered a lot of tactical things. So I will not add another tactical, but I will just add a mindset thing, because today I think it probably would feel for some folks like you're drinking from the fire hose. And I just have to speak from my own personal experience in business. I know what happens for me is when I learn about things that I should be doing and I experience that gap and where I am and where I want to go, I get very frustrated and antsy. And I'm even working through some of that right now for myself and my business. And so I just want to normalize that fact that this is a process. We are learning. Every step you take to learn that thing is just preparing you for the next step. And that this is a work in progress and it takes time, no matter how many business owners you see that seem like they have it all together and they have a big team. I have a great team that I love too, but it has taken years for me to build that and learn how to hire and what I need and who to look for.
Yes.
So this does not happen overnight. It can move. It can certainly happen faster for some folks than others. So, hey, if it does, that's amazing. But I just want to kind of say that this is something that will take some time, but you can do it step by step, and getting the support and resources can just help you move forward and make that forward momentum. It can sometimes feel tough getting started and slow points in our business. And is this going to change? It's a process and a journey.
I love that. Be gentle with yourself. Be patient. There's a lot of things that you know how to do now that one day in the past were overwhelming to you.
Absolutely.
It's just another body of skill. That's all it is. It's just another round of skills. And you too, you too can learn this.
Yes. Yeah.
I guarantee you what you already know how to do is way beyond this. So you you can do this. So yeah, that's good. Be kind, be patient, and go look at Whitney. So there you go. Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This has been fun.
We could go forever, but yeah, I think we landed in a good spot and covered a lot of great ground. And I don't think we left any major pieces out. I think we covered everything you need to know, whether you want to improve or you're getting started for the first time.
Absolutely. So guys, she has given you a lot to think about, I'm sure. I encourage you to go back and listen to this another time, maybe do it with taking notes like I have, because there were lots of very specific, juicy bits of material in here that you really can use, even if you don't do anything else. There's a lot here for you. This is a packed episode and in a really good way. So go play with it. Email me if you have questions. I'd love to know what your takeaway is from this. Like, talk to me about that, because I'd like to know, like, what's the next thing you're going to do? What's the very, 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 very first thing you're going to do as you explore this? All right. All right, everybody. With that, I will turn you loose for now. Thank you so much for sticking with us. And I will see you next time right here on the Ideal Practice Podcast. Bye now. Hey, y'all. If this program has become important to you, if Ideal Practice matters, it would mean so much to me if you'd be willing to take just a minute to do one or two of the following things. First of all, would you follow or subscribe to the show here at Ideal Practice? Following me helps you because you'll never miss an episode, but it helps me as well for all kinds of reasons. To do that, all you have to do is go to the show page for Ideal Practice on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. There, just click on the plus sign that you'll usually find in the top right-hand corner, or click on the word follow that you're going to find somewhere there on that page. Of all the things, this really is the most important thing you can do for the podcast itself. While you're there, it would be extra special if you would be willing to give me a 5-star rating, and even better than that, a review with your own words. Your words matter. And when you write what you feel, what you think, You uplift and encourage others, and I love that. If you want to go a step further than that, take your favorite episode or two, one of the ones that has meant a lot to you, and share it with a friend. Could you do one or two of those things for me? I promise I will love you forever. You guys matter to me, and I value your support more than I can possibly say. Thank you, sweet friend, for anything you can do to help me out and support the show. I'll see you again soon.